She was beautiful, brilliant, and beloved. A high-flying lawyer, a devoted mother, a woman who had everything going for her until she met him. A man who wore charm like a mask, a man with a past full of violence, lies, and broken women. And yet somehow, he kept slipping through the cracks. This is the haunting story of Elizabeth Koki Musyoki, a woman who ignored the warnings, trusted love one last time, and paid for it with her life. It's a tale of manipulation, gaslighting, betrayal, and murder. And the man at the center of it all, Christian Kadima, the sweet-talking predator who left behind a trail of pain from South Africa to Kenya. Today, we unravel the twisted mind of a killer and the red flags that were missed, ignored, and silenced. Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we delve into the tragic story of Christian Baledi Kadima and Elizabeth Koki Musyoki. Christian Baledi Kadima is a man of Congolese origin who also held a Nigerian passport and had spent a significant portion of his life in South Africa. Despite presenting various identities, including aliases like Eric Kambaye Katalai and Deloge Christian Kadima, official court documents and investigative reports confirm that he was born in the Democratic Republic of Congo. He graduated from the University of Pretoria with a Bachelor of Commerce degree in 2007. However, beneath his achievements and polished exterior, Kadima harbored a sinister secret, a history of violence against women. He exhibited a pattern of manipulation, deceit, and abuse that was aligned with the characteristics of narcissistic personality disorder. After gaining his victims' trust through charm and fitness knowledge, he took advantage of and mistreated them. Kadima's lack of empathy and the propensity to manipulate people raised the possibility that he was a psychopath. Before fleeing to Kenya, Kadima had a known history of violence against women in South Africa. In 2016, he assaulted a woman so severely that she had to be hospitalized with bone fractures. In another well-documented case, he was charged with assaulting a woman named Miranda Jacobs on June 24, 2017, at a party in Morningside, Johannesburg. Miranda posted her story on social media. More women came forward, sharing their own horrific experiences with Kadima, including his ex-fiancée, who described a 4-year relationship marred by abuse. This sparked public outrage with the hashtag Justice for Miranda going viral. That incident led to former assault charges being filed against him on July 3, 2017 for causing grievous bodily harm. It's important to note that Kadima's case was specifically troubling because of the part his mother played in condoning his actions. His mother is reported to have threatened a victim of her son's abuse and defended him when she heard about his violence. This behavior raised the possibility that Kadima's mother played a role in his psychopathic personality disorder, which included feelings of superiority and the right to treat people however he pleased. To avoid facing justice in South Africa, Kadima skipped bail and went into hiding. He evaded the authorities and eventually made his way into Kenya in July 2017, reportedly using a Nigerian passport and a false identity. His time in Kenya followed a similar pattern, charming women, manipulating them emotionally and financially, and disappearing when confronted or suspected. Shortly after arriving in Nairobi, he found employment as a fitness instructor at a well-known gym and established his own brand, Forever Bodies. His first victim in Kenya was Kate. She was a talented makeup artist with a warm smile and an eye for detail. She matched with a man named Christian Kadima on a dating site. They met in December 2017. Their first date was ordinary on the surface, shared laughs, long glances, and the usual exchange of personal histories. But as Christian spoke about his past, especially why he had fled South Africa, his story reeked of self-victimization, painted himself as a misunderstood soul, evading injustice, while cleverly dodging any accountability. Kate, perhaps touched by what seemed like vulnerability, let her guard down. That decision would cost her peace. Not long after, Christian moved in with her. Quiet takeover by a man with no shame in leeching of women. Their relationship became rocky due to Kadima's physical and emotional abuse and frequent cheating. Kate recalled an incident at a party where Kadima threw a drinking glass at her, causing injuries that required medical treatment. She discovered his infidelity through messages on her laptop, learning he was involved with at least 3 other women. The final straw came in October 2019 when Kadima physically assaulted her and fractured her finger, leading her to end the relationship. No amount of love could save what was clearly unredeemable at this point. After their breakup, Christian began to rebrand himself, not as a better man, but as a predator in search of a new victim. He counted his losses and set his sights on someone else. That someone was Elizabeth Koki Musyoki, a very brilliant, accomplished woman, a corporate lawyer, a loving divorced mother to 2 sons. She was the embodiment of success and grace, the kind of woman who should have been cherished. But Christian saw her as his next opportunity. They met by chance in November 2019. Their chemistry was instant, smooth talking and persuasive as ever. Christian soon warmed his way into her life and her home in the upscale Jacaranda estate in Nairobi. Again, without shame or hesitation, he moved into her house. One wonders, what kind of man makes a habit of freeloading in women's homes? But Elizabeth would soon begin to see the cracks. The masked Christian who began to slip, grew possessive, controlling and jealous. The charming stranger was morphing into something sinister. While still with Elizabeth, Christian made contact with another woman, Angie, a fitness influencer whose star was rising on social media. He charmed her too, convincing her to post about his gym activities in exchange for training sessions. But this soon backfired. Miranda Jacobs, a woman who had once been brutalized by Christian at a party in Morningside, Johannesburg, and bore the emotional scars of the severe battery, saw the posts. Horrified, she reached out to Angie, not for drama, but to warn her. Miranda laid it all. Christian was a violent woman abuser. Angie listened, silently, processing every word, but she chose not to confront him. She ended a partnership with him, there and then. Word of this managed to get to Elizabeth. Angie tried to warn her. When she confronted Christian, he spun yet another lie. That Angie was obsessed with him. That she wanted him, but he didn't want her. Elizabeth, blinded by love or fear, or both, believed him. A red flag ignored. Then came September 2020. They were driving home from an outing when a heated argument erupted. Christian, now fully unhinged, stopped the car and violently assaulted Elizabeth, threw her phone out of the car. Fearing for her life, Elizabeth jumped out and ran for safety. She confided in her friends who accompanied her to Kiambu police station the next day to report the assault. They also went to Kiambu District Hospital, where she received treatment and documents for the investigating officer. A monster revealed himself. That should have been the end, but it wasn't. In time, Elizabeth connected with Miranda, who again revealed everything she had endured. Through Miranda, Elizabeth also reached out to Kate, his ex from years before. 2 women, 2 survivors. Both told their stories, both warned her. But even then, Elizabeth stayed. A few weeks or months later, it's likely she reflected, wrestled with her instincts, and finally decided to walk away. She cut ties and stayed single for a few months, but fate or manipulation reunited them. Their paths crossed again. Against all reason, they rekindled their relationship. They even took a romantic trip to Mombasa on the 21st of November 2020, where Christian proposed. She said yes. They got matching tattoos, a symbolic promise etched in skin. But that promise was a lie, because even as he proposed to Elizabeth, he was secretly seeing another woman. How low can a man possibly sink? Soon after, Elizabeth fell ill. Christian took her to the hospital and later brought her back home. But instead of staying to care for her, he left to visit another woman. When he returned later that night, he went upstairs to talk to Elizabeth. Whatever was said turned into chaos. A violent fight broke, and in a moment of pure evil, Christian ended her life. He killed her. Frantic and cold, he walked downstairs, got into Elizabeth's car, and drove off into the night. According to Grace Ndanu Kiyoko, the house help, the morning of January 8th began like any other day. Around 5:30 a.m., she rose to prepare the children for school. By 6:30, they were awake and getting ready. Elizabeth's young son wanted to greet his mother before leaving, so he went upstairs to her bedroom. When he returned, he told Grace that his mother wasn't waking up. Assuming Elizabeth might still be resting since she hadn't been feeling well the previous day, Grace decided to check on her. She went upstairs and knocked, but there was no response. Gently pushing the door open, she was met with a chilling sight. Elizabeth was lying flat on her back in the bed. 2 pillows were placed over her face, stacked deliberately, and one of them was stained with blood. Blood was also visible around her nose and mouth, soaking into the bedding. For a moment, Grace stood frozen, trying to make sense of what she was saying. She moved closer, called Elizabeth's name, and shook her gently. Still, there was no response. Panic set in. Grace called Elizabeth's sister Agnes, and then the sister asked her to reach out to a neighbor. Within minutes, the house was filled with fear and disbelief. Elizabeth was gone. She had died silently in the night, just a room away from her children. And Christian, he was out there, living freely as if nothing had happened, planning his escape. He contacted his friend Edwin Kamasi, a Nairobi bouncer he had met through the night scene. Kadima confessed there had been a fight between him and Elizabeth. He then gave Edwin 55,000 Kenya shillings and instructed him to obtain travel documents. He handed him the keys to Elizabeth's car, asking him to deliver it to her sister. But Edwin sensed something was wrong. He disobeyed Kadima's orders and called Elizabeth's sister Agnes Kilonzo. Agnes alerted the authorities. Police arrested DJ Alex, another friend, who revealed Kadima's hideout. On the night of January the 8th, Kadima was arrested at Melonia Guest House, room 204, just hours before he was scheduled to flee to Uganda using false documents. But truth has a way of rising. The evidence was overwhelming. His friends as witnesses, phone records, testimonies, timelines, they all pointed to one person, Christian Baledi Kadima. An autopsy confirmed that the cause of Elizabeth's death was asphyxia due to suffocation. The court found him guilty. He was sentenced to 40 years in prison. Elizabeth Koki Musyoki was more than a victim. She was a brilliant lawyer, a mother, a daughter, a woman, a friend who loved deeply and deserved to be safe in her own home. But her story is a painful reminder that even the strongest among us can fall prey to manipulation and abuse. As we remember her, let's not just mourn her loss. Let's ask ourselves, how can we as a society do better at protecting women like Elizabeth before it's too late? Thank you for watching. Like, comment, share, and subscribe for more videos like these. See you on the next one. Stay kind, stay safe, and stay aware.